A towering woman, stronger than any ranch gate, stood in the dust with folded arms, daring him to try to take off her clothes. The cowboy froze, because this wasn't just a challenge, it was a test wrapped in danger, pride, and something no man had ever faced out here. The moment he stepped toward her, the wind shifted, the horse stamped, and her shadow swallowed his boots. But what truth was she really hiding beneath that impossible dare? And why was she willing to risk everything if he touched even one thread? The first thing the cowboy heard was fabric tearing, not loud, but sharp enough to cut through the late afternoon heat. He turned toward the old corral and saw her again, the giant Apache woman standing perfectly still, arms crossed over her chest, the sun carving fire along her shoulders. A dust-laden breeze pushed through the empty ranch yard, rattling a loose lantern chain, but she didn't flinch. She simply stared at him, unblinking, waiting. "Try," she said. Her voice was calm, almost bored, like she'd repeated that word to a dozen men who all failed. The cowboy wiped his palms on his jeans. "Why me?" "Because you're not like them." Her words were clipped, each one landing like a stone. A long silence stretched across the yard. Somewhere behind the barn, a horse snorted. A distant church bell rang once and carried by the wind from the settlement far down the valley. The cowboy didn't step closer. Not yet. He watched how the woman's jaw tightened, how her breath steadied. She wasn't taunting him. She wasn't flirting. She was guarding something he couldn't see. A shadow crossed overhead, a hawk circling low. The cowboy felt the ground shift beneath the moment, as if the dust itself held a warning. "How you ask for trouble?" he said quietly. "No." She uncrossed her arms, revealing rope marks on her wrists, fresh ones, deep and angry. "I ask for truth." The cowboy's stomach dropped. Someone had tied her. Recently. He took one slow step toward her, and she didn't move. Another step, and her fingers curled slightly, breath tightening as though bracing for impact. Her massive frame looked unbreakable, yet the fear behind her eyes wasn't strength. It was memory. A door slammed open behind them, boots heavy, purposeful. The cowboy and the giant woman turned at the same time as dust lifted around their feet. A man stood there, clean clothes, smooth voice, badge glinting under the sun. "Step away from her," he said. He smiled without warmth. "She belongs to the law now." The woman didn't look at the cowboy. "Take off my clothes," she whispered, almost shaking, "before he takes my life." The man with the badge didn't touch his gun. He didn't need to. The shine on that metal star did enough talking for him. "Step away," he repeated. "This is county business." The cowboy didn't move. Dust crawled around his boots, slow and stubborn. "She asked me," he said. "Law got trouble with that too." The giant woman's shoulders lifted, then locked. She stared straight ahead, breathing hard. Rope burns still colored her skin like fresh brands. The badgeman smiled lightly. "You think this is about some desert game?" He took a folded paper from his vest, held it up between two careful fingers. "Contract," he said, "signed, sealed, witnessed." The cowboy stepped closer to her instead of backing off. Slowly, deliberate. He pulled his worn coat from his shoulders and draped it over her arms, covering the marks, covering more than the thin cloth she wore. A small act, quiet. It changed the air. She flinched at his touch, then held still. Her hands gripped the coat, knuckles whitening. The badgeman's smile thinned. "You finished playing hero." The cowboy's voice stayed low. "Man who tied her like that, where is he?" The badgeman shrugged. "Working off his debts." "Same as she should be." The woman spoke then, eyes on the horizon. "He sold me," she said. "Sold my strength, sold my back." Her jaw tightened. "Not my body." The badgeman clicked his tongue. "Labor is labor. Paper says so." He flicked the contract with one finger. The sound was soft, but it cut. The wind picked up, dragging a dry rattle from the corral rails. Somewhere, a barn door banged once, then swung on its hinge with a slow, complaining groan. The earth felt tilted, like the ranch itself waited for a verdict. "How long?" the cowboy asked. "Until the debt's cleared," the badgeman said. "Or she breaks." The woman's lip curled. I don't break. That's the problem, the badge man replied. He took a step closer. Boots neat, hat perfectly set. No dust dared cling to him for long. County hired me to see contracts honored, he said. No blood if we can help it. No mess. Just work done and bills paid? The cowboy eyed the paper. You got his mark, not hers. She can't write, the man said. He signs. He owns. Simple. The woman's voice dropped. He owned the land, not me. Silence settled heavy. A hawk cried somewhere far off. The wagon horses in the shade stamped nervously, chains on their harnesses giving a faint metallic jingle. The cowboy turned to her. You want to go with him? Her answer came fast. No. Then you're not simple property, he said. The badge man sighed like a patient teacher. You got feelings, I got law. Guess which one pays me? He unfolded the paper with care, letting the county stamp catch the light. See this seal, he said. Judge's mark, court's words. You stand in front of that bench. You'll lose before you open your mouth. The woman stared at the paper like it was a coiled snake. The cowboy narrowed his eyes. Judge knows you're hauling people like cattle. Judge knows I'm clearing the books, the man said. Big difference. The wind shifted again. Dust rolled across the yard and slapped against the house wall with a dry hiss. The cowboy squinted, as if reading something written in that dust instead of on the page. He stretched out his hand. Let me see it. The badge man hesitated. You can't change ink. Didn't ask to, the cowboy said. Just want to know how crooked it is. A faint chuckle escaped the badge man. Fine, read your doom. He held the contract out. Not quite within reach. Testing. The cowboy stepped closer, slow enough not to spook the horses or the woman beside him. He took the paper carefully, as if it might tear from being touched by the wrong hands. He scanned the cramped lines. His brow furrowed. Debt for tools, he read. Grain, repairs, interest. His finger slid lower. Stopped. And all family bodies fit for labor, he read aloud. That what you call law? The badge man kept his smile. That's what the judge signed. The woman's breath hitched. He wrote bodies. He let them, the cowboy said quietly. Didn't he? The badge man rolled one shoulder. He owed more than land was worth. County doesn't like losing. The cowboy folded the paper once, not tearing it. Not yet. You drag her in chains through town, he said. What you think folks see? Progress, the badge man said. Discipline. Or a woman stolen, the cowboy replied. The badge man's eyes cooled. Careful. I am, the cowboy said. That's why she's wearing my coat. For a heartbeat, no one moved. The coat hung heavy on her shoulders. It didn't fit right. It fit enough. The badge man's jaw flexed. She goes in that wagon, he said. Today, you step aside. This ends clean. The woman turned to the cowboy, then really turned. Her gaze met his, dark and steady. You take off my clothes, she whispered. You say in front of them all what I am. Worker, wife, free woman, slave. Whatever you choose, they'll listen to you before they hear me. The words hit harder than any fist. He looked at her wrists, at the marks, at the rope still coiled on the ground like a waiting snake. You trust me that far? He asked. I trust you more than paper, she said. The badge man snorted. You two finished building poetry. Sun's dropping. He snapped his fingers. The sound cracked through the air. From behind the barn came the grind of wheels and the jangle of heavier chains. A covered wagon rolled into view, canvas-stained, iron bars bolted across the back opening. A padlock swung against the metal, clinking with each bump. The wagon creaked to a stop in front of the house doorway, blocking the light. The badge man nodded toward it. Last ride before the mine, Sentu, he said. She steps in, this gets easy. The cowboy stared at the bars, at the lock, at the narrow, dark space waiting inside. His hand tightened on the folded contract. You still think this ends clean? He asked. The badge man's answer was a soft, practiced smile. The wagon driver leaned over and kicked the door latch. With a dull, final sound, the barred door swung open. The barred wagon door rocked in the wind, its hinges groaning like something alive. The woman's breath steadied, deep and deliberate, as though bracing for a blow no one could see. The cowboy kept her coat wrapped around her shoulders, fingertips pressing gently against her arm to keep her grounded. "You don't step in there," he murmured. She didn't blink. "Then where do I stand?" "Beside me," he said. The badge-man sighed loudly. "Romantic heroics won't change the seal on that paper." The cowboy lifted the folded contract. "Town clerk stamps wrong." The badge-man's eyes narrowed. "Say again." "Clerk in this county signs with a looped tail on the R." He tapped the corner. "This one's straight." "That's detail," the badge-man replied. "Nobody cares." "I care," the cowboy said. "And I don't," the badge-man snapped. "County wants its debt cleared." The woman's voice cut between them, low but firm. "Debt he made, not me." The badge-man didn't even look at her. "Bodies are bodies." Her fists tightened at her sides. The cowboy shifted slightly, moving just enough to stand between her and the man with the badge. "Don't talk to her like that," he said. "Why not?" the badge-man replied. "She talks big, stands big. Let's see her pull the wagon while she's at it." The cowboy's jaw clenched. "She's not an ox." "She's labor," the badge-man corrected, "and she's coming with me." The wind kicked up again, rolling a dark cloud of dust across the yard. The hitching post creaked. The horses stamped and tossed their heads nervously. The woman leaned closer. "He fears strength," she whispered. "Not mine. Yours." "Maybe," the cowboy said. "But law protects him." "Then break it," she replied softly. He shook his head. "Can't break what ain't bent yet." The badge-man tapped his boot impatiently. "This is your last warning. Move aside or I drag her." "You drag her," the cowboy said. "And you'll answer to more than me." The man laughed, short and sharp. "Who?" "Sheriff's in my pocket. Judge signs whatever I bring. No one's coming to save your desert giant." The woman stepped forward suddenly. Not aggressive, not reckless, just enough to force the badge-man to look up at her, truly look. "I saved myself," she said, "long before you arrived." "Then show me," the badge-man taunted. "Step into that wagon without crying." The cowboy growled, "She doesn't owe you anything." The woman raised a hand gently, stopping him. "Let me speak." "You speaking won't save you," the badge-man said. She ignored him and looked at the cowboy instead. "You heard what I said before. Take off my clothes. Tell them who I am." He swallowed hard. "That was for the town, for the crowd." "No," she said, "for any who claim to own me." The cowboy's breath hitched. She wasn't asking for shame. She wasn't asking to be exposed. She was asking for truth, spoken aloud, witnessed, undeniable. The badge-man smirked. "What? Giant lady. Think he's brave enough?" The cowboy stepped in front of her. "Enough." He unfolded the coat just slightly, revealing the marks beneath. Her skin was raw, red, ridged by the ropes that had cut deep. "Tell me again, this is legal," the cowboy said. The badge-man didn't flinch. "Contract says labor can be secured." "Not beaten," the cowboy cut in. "She resisted," the badge-man replied. "Some folk need persuasion." The coat slid from the woman's shoulder just an inch, showing one welt that hadn't healed. The cowboy's hands shook. "You did this?" he asked quietly. The badge-man shrugged. "I did my job." She looked at the cowboy. "Now you understand." He did. More than he wanted to. The badge-man snapped his fingers once. "Driver. Chain her." The wagon driver stepped down, boots crunching on gravel. He held a length of thick iron chain, the links heavy and rust-dulled. The horses whinnied, uneasy. The cowboy moved instantly. "Touch her, and you won't finish your next breath." The driver froze. Looked at the badge-man. The badge-man's jaw tightened. "You're making this worse," he warned. "For who?" the cowboy asked. "For her," the badge-man said. "Interference adds charges." "She's not charged," the cowboy replied. "She's stolen." "Debt makes her county property," the badge-man snapped. "That's the law." The cowboy shook his head. "Law ain't chains." The woman stepped beside him, towering, silent, unflinching. "Together," she whispered, "we break them." Before the cowboy could answer, the badge-man reached into his coat and pulled out a second document, longer, sealed, heavier. "This," he said, is the court order for transport, signed yesterday. Witnessed by 3 officials, sheriff included. He held it up. The seal glinted bright red. The cowboy stared. The woman whispered, "False?" "No," the badgeman said. "This one's real." A cold weight dropped into the cowboy's stomach. The driver lifted the chain again. The badgeman lowered his voice. "Try to fight, cowboy, and she rides to the mines in shackles, but if you step aside, maybe I let her walk." The woman grabbed the cowboy's wrist. "No," she breathed. "Don't leave me." The chain clinked once, loud as a gunshot. The chain swung again, heavier this time, the metal ringing against the driver's glove as he tightened his grip. The woman didn't back away. She didn't blink. She stood like stone carved from the canyon cliffs, silent, enormous, unyielding. But her hand on the cowboy's wrist trembled, just once. "Don't," she whispered. "Don't let them." The cowboy stepped in front of her. "You touch her," he said, "and I end this." The badgeman exhaled slowly. "You're outnumbered." "No," the cowboy said. "I'm just done." The badgeman motioned again. "Chain her." The driver took one step. Just one. The dust puffed beneath his boot. A soft burst like a warning shot. The cowboy's eyes tracked the chain, measured the distance, gauged how long it would take the driver to get closer. "Back away," the cowboy said. "Can't," the driver muttered. "Orders." "Then break them," the cowboy replied. The badgeman smirked. "He won't." The chain rattled like dry bones in the wind. The woman moved suddenly, one step forward, towering over the driver. Her shadow swallowed him whole. "You fear me," she said. He swallowed. "Yes, ma'am." "Then leave," she said. "I can't." "You can," she repeated. "Walk." The badgeman barked. "Driver, do your job." The driver tightened his jaw. "Sorry," he said softly. He lifted the chain. The cowboy struck first, not with fists, with the contract. He shoved the folded paper into the driver's chest. "Read that," the driver blinked. "What?" "Read it," the cowboy said. The badgeman scoffed. "He doesn't need—" "Shut up," the cowboy snapped. The yard went still. The driver hesitated, then unfolded the paper. His lips moved slowly as he read, "Bodies fit for labor," he murmured. "Family, owned by debt." He looked up. This is crooked." The badgeman stepped forward. "Give that back." "No," the cowboy said. The driver lowered the paper. "Sir, this ain't right." "It's legal," the badgeman replied sharply. "Legal ain't always right," the driver muttered. For the first time, uncertainty flickered in his eyes. The cowboy leaned in. "You chain her knowing it's wrong, knowing she's beaten, knowing she never signed." The driver hesitated again. I just haul folks." "She's not folks," the badgeman snapped. "She's labor." The woman's voice cut through the heat. "I am human." The driver swallowed hard. "Sir, maybe we wait." The badgeman glared at him. "You coward on me now?" "No," the driver said. "I just don't want blood." "There'll be no blood," the badgeman said, "unless he draws it." The cowboy stared at him. "Put the chain down." The driver slowly lowered it. The badgeman exploded. "Pick it up." "No," the driver said quietly. "Not this time." A thin crack ran through the tension. A tiny shift. A micro-victory. The woman exhaled, but the badgeman was already moving. He reached into his coat and pulled out the second document again, the real one, the sealed one. "You think this is over?" he said. "Judge ordered transfer. Sheriff signed, county approved." He slapped the paper against his palm. "She goes today," he said, "with or without that chain." The cowboy stepped forward. "You forge this too." "No forge," the badgeman said. "Judge owes me favors. Sheriff owes me more." The woman lifted her head. "You buy men." "I buy survival," he said. "County gets stronger. Weak bodies serve." The cowboy felt something cold settle inside him. Not fear, resolve. "You tied her," he said. "She fought," the badgeman replied. "Big ones always fight." The cowboy clenched his fist. "You hurt her." "She's property," the badgeman said. "She's not," the cowboy said. "Not anymore." The badgeman's hand drifted toward his gun. "Careful," he warned. "I'm allowed to shoot interference." "Shoot me," the cowboy said. "See how far you get." The driver stepped between them, panicked. "Gentlemen, stop, please. Sheriff's coming soon, you both know it." The badgeman smirked. "Good." The cowboy froze. "Sheriff knows." "Sheriff signs," the badgeman said. "Sheriff gets a cut," the woman whispered. "They all want me." "Not want," the badgeman corrected. "Use." The cowboy's jaw worked. His breath shortened. The badgeman saw it. He smiled. "You had one chance," he said. "One clean chance. Now you lose." The woman touched the cowboy's arm again. "Don't break." "Not breaking," he said, deciding. A sudden sound cracked the air. Hoofbeats. Fast. Urgent. The badgeman straightened. Right on time. A horse galloped into view from the ridge, a cloud of dust behind it. A rider leaned low over the saddle, hat pulled tight, coat whipping in the wind. "That's the sheriff," the badgeman said confidently. "He'll settle this." The cowboy felt the woman step closer. Her breath trembled. "Who is he?" she asked. "Wrong man," the cowboy murmured. "Wrong time." The badgeman grinned. "Perfect time for me." The rider closed in, fast, relentless, determined. The horses near the wagon reared. The driver stepped back in panic. The sheriff's silhouette rose against the sun like a coming storm. And the woman whispered, "If he takes me, you cannot follow." The cowboy didn't answer. He stepped in front of her instead. The sheriff's horse slid through the dust, hooves grinding as it jerked to a stop. Heat shimmered off the ground. Every creature in the yard, horses, men, even the circling hawk, seemed to freeze in place. The sheriff didn't speak at first. He just sat tall in the saddle, hand resting inside his coat, eyes locked on the giant woman like she was a fugitive worth a fortune. The cowboy stepped forward. "Sheriff, leave her be." The sheriff's voice came low and cold. "Step aside." "No," the cowboy said. The sheriff withdrew his hand. Not a gun, a folded sheet of paper, thick, official. Red-stamped. "Order from the judge," he said. "She goes." The woman drew in a sharp breath. "You read it," she asked. "Don't need to," the sheriff replied. "Judge wrote it. That's enough." The badgeman smiled thinly. "Told you. Clean and legal." The cowboy reached out. "Let me see it." "No," the sheriff said. "Not yours." "It concerns me," the cowboy said. "It concerns the county," the sheriff replied. "Not drifters." The cowboy squared his shoulders. The woman touched his elbow gently. A warning, not a plea. "Let's talk straight," the cowboy said. "She never signed anything." "She didn't have to," the sheriff answered. "Head of household signs." "She wasn't his property," the cowboy said. The sheriff shrugged. "Judge thinks otherwise." The driver muttered, "This ain't right." The sheriff shot him a look sharp enough to cut rope. "Quiet." The woman raised her chin. "Judge never saw me." "Not required," the sheriff said. "Then he judged nothing," she replied. A flicker crossed the sheriff's face. Annoyance, maybe doubt. Hard to read. He looked away, out toward the empty road, his thumb pressed against the seal. "Her father owed," he said. "Debt's real." "Debt's not blood," the cowboy said. "Not ownership." "That's your thinking," the sheriff replied. "Not ours." The west wind crawled through the yard, lifting dirt in slow spirals. The barn door creaked again, swinging wider. A fly buzzed between them, loud as a bullet in the stillness. The woman finally spoke again. "Sheriff, why chase me?" "You didn't work," he said. "That's the charge." She stared at him. "Work what?" "The county farm," he said. "You were assigned." The cowboy stiffened. "Assigned." "She never arrived." "She ran," the sheriff said. "Paper says so." The woman stepped forward. "I never ran." The sheriff hesitated. The badgeman cut in. "She fled before you came to fetch her." The woman turned. "I was tied." The badgeman waved a hand. "Only after she resisted." The cowboy snapped. "She resisted being hauled like cargo." The sheriff rubbed his jaw, thinking. "You tied her," he asked the badgeman quietly. "Secured her," the badgeman corrected. Procedure. The sheriff's brow creased slightly. Show me the rope. The badgeman frowned. Why? Want to see? The sheriff said. The cowboy gestured to the rope coiled on the dirt. There. The sheriff swung down from his horse. Slow. Heavy. Dust puffed with each step as he approached the rope. He nudged it with his boot. Looks rough, he muttered. Because he used it rough, the cowboy said. He used it proper, the badgeman insisted. The sheriff crouched, running his thumb along the frayed fibers. He didn't say anything for several seconds. Then, who tied her hands? The badgeman hesitated. Me. Why? She fought. The sheriff stood. Why fight? The woman answered quietly. He wanted to sell me. To who? The sheriff asked. The badgeman lifted his chin. County buyer. The sheriff turned. Name? Private buyer, the badgeman corrected. The sheriff's face changed. Just slightly. Private, he repeated. Yes, the badgeman said. You lied, the woman said. The cowboy stepped closer to her. Easy. The sheriff looked at the badgeman again, longer this time, deeper, suspicion tightening the lines around his mouth. You sure this paperwork's right? He asked. The badgeman bristled. You doubt me? I'm asking, the sheriff said. You're questioning my duty, the badgeman snapped. I'm questioning your buyer, the sheriff replied. Silence followed. Heavy, sharp, dangerous. The badgeman swallowed. Doesn't matter. It does, the sheriff said. The badgeman stepped forward. She's fit, strong, worth more than... He stopped talking. Too late. The sheriff's eyes narrowed. Worth? Worth to who? The badgeman opened his mouth, closed it. Sweat formed at his temple. You're getting paid, the sheriff said slowly. Personally. The cowboy breathed. Told you. Crooked. The badgeman snapped. Shut up. He reached for his gun. The sheriff's hand went to his own. The woman stepped in front of the cowboy instinctively. Stop, she whispered. No bullets. But the sheriff didn't draw. He moved his hand to the second paper instead, the sealed order. He stared at it for a long moment. Then he crushed it in his fist. The badgeman's face drained of color. Sheriff? What are you doing? Doing my job, the sheriff said. The real one. The woman's shoulders dropped slightly, relief mixed with disbelief. But the sheriff wasn't done. He turned to the cowboy. She's not cleared yet. Why not? The cowboy asked. Because something's missing, the sheriff said. He pointed at the woman's rope wounds. Those marks, they violate county code. The badgeman froze. Sheriff, don't... The sheriff stepped closer. I need a sworn account. A what? The cowboy asked. Her statement, the sheriff said. From her. The yard fell silent again. The woman swallowed, hard. Speak the truth, the sheriff said. I can't, she whispered. Why? The cowboy asked. She looked at both men, then down at her hands. Because if I speak it, she said softly, I will name someone. Who? The sheriff asked. Her eyes lifted, full of fear. Someone powerful, she said. The badgeman shifted, too nervous, too sudden, and the sheriff noticed. Who are you protecting? The sheriff demanded. Before she could answer, a gunshot ripped through the yard. The sheriff stumbled backward, clutching his side as dust plumed around him. His horse reared, screaming, hooves cutting wild arcs through the air. The shot still echoed across the yard, bouncing off the barn walls like a ghost refusing to settle. The cowboy grabbed the sheriff before he collapsed. Stay with me. The sheriff gritted his teeth. Shooters behind the corral. The badgeman lifted both hands innocently. Told you, not me. The woman scanned the ridge. Who fired? The badgeman smirked. Someone who wants her badly? Name, the cowboy demanded. The badgeman shrugged. Wouldn't ruin the surprise. The cowboy's eyes narrowed. You planned this. I planned nothing, the badgeman said. Others planned plenty. The sheriff coughed. He's lying. That bullet says otherwise, the badgeman answered. The woman stepped beside the cowboy. He wants confusion. And chains, the cowboy muttered. The driver crawled behind the wagon wheel, terrified. Who's shooting? Who's after us? The badge-man chuckled. Not you, friend, just her. The woman's jaw tightened. Why me? You know why, the badge-man said. No, she whispered. Say it. He leaned forward slightly. Because you're worth more alive than gold. The cowboy stiffened. What does that mean? She's wanted, the badge-man said. By the mines? No. By private hands? No. He paused, letting the wind stretch the silence. By a man who lost everything, he said softly, because of her. The woman's breath hitched. No. Ah, the badge-man whispered. You remember. The cowboy stepped closer. Who? The badge-man only smiled. Another gunshot ripped through the air. A board on the barn wall splintered, shards flying. The horses bucked and strained against their reins. The driver screamed again. The sheriff pushed himself upright, face pale. You three, get behind cover. The woman didn't move. He's here. Who? The cowboy asked. She swallowed. A man I escaped. The cowboy's voice sharpened. Escaped what? Her eyes darkened. His promise. The badge-man laughed loudly. There it is. The truth. A third shot cracked. The sheriff's hat flipped off his head, spinning in the dust. Behind the corral, he shouted. Shooters moving. The cowboy pulled the woman behind the water trough. Talk, now. She shook her head. Not here. You must, he insisted. He owned a camp, she said softly. Not a home, a camp. The cowboy's stomach dropped. Labor camp. No, she said. Worse. The badge-man called across the yard. Tell him, giant. Tell him who wants you back. Another gunshot smashed through the trough, spraying water. The cowboy dragged her down beneath the spray. Name, he yelled. Her hands trembled. Colonel Raker. The cowboy froze. The sheriff cursed. Hell, he whispered. He's alive. The badge-man laughed again. Very alive. The cowboy gripped her arm. Why does he want you? He bought my tribe, she whispered, piece by piece. The cowboy stared, horrified. Bought? He took us, she said. One by one. And you? The cowboy asked. I broke him, she said quietly. I escaped. A fourth shot ricocheted off the wagon bars. The badge-man called out, Colonel wants compensation. The cowboy snarled. She's not currency. To him, the badge-man said. She's the one that got away. The sheriff pressed his wound. Cowboy, this man's dangerous. I see that, the cowboy replied. No, the sheriff rasped. More than you think. He pointed a shaking finger at the ridge. If Raker's here, he brought men. The cowboy moved to stand. The woman grabbed him. Don't go. I have to, he said. You'll die, she whispered. I'll die if I don't, he replied. A fifth shot struck the wagon door. Iron screamed. A lock snapped off and hit the dirt. The badge-man clapped slowly. He's getting closer. The sheriff gritted his teeth. Cowboy, Raker doesn't take prisoners. He won't take her, the cowboy said. The woman pulled him down again. You can't save me alone. I'm not alone, he whispered. Yes, she said. You are. The badge-man smirked. Not for long. The cowboy barked. What's that mean? But the badge-man didn't answer, because footsteps echoed behind the corral. Soft, measured, dozens. The sheriff's eyes widened. He brought a unit, the woman whispered. No. The cowboy stood slowly, hands trembling. Dust rose behind the corral. Shadows stretched long across the yard. Tall shadows, armed shadows, dozens of them. The badge-man tilted his head proudly. Meet the colonel's men. The cowboy felt the ground tilt. The woman's breath broke. The sheriff muttered, We're dead. And then a silhouette stepped out from behind the corral. Broad hat, long coat, rifle in hand. The colonel himself. He lifted the rifle slowly, pointed it at the giant woman, and smiled. The gunshot hit like a hammer. The sound tore the air open. The woman jerked, not from pain, but from shock, because the cry behind her was not hers. The driver collapsed to his knees, clutching his shoulder, blood spilling between his fingers. Why, me? He gasped. The badge man didn't even glance his way. Wrong place, wrong faith. The colonel stepped forward, boots carving deep prints in the dirt. I warned you about blocking my aim. The cowboy lunged toward the driver, pulling him behind the wagon. Stay with me. I just drive wagons, the driver groaned. I know, the cowboy said. Hold pressure. The sheriff pressed a hand to his own wound. Colonel, you gone mad? No, the colonel said calmly. I'm restoring order. The woman stepped forward, towering even as fear broke across her face. Why follow me? You know why, the colonel said. No, she whispered. I don't. He tilted his head. You humiliated me. She trembled. I freed myself. You escaped, he corrected. You stole strength from me. The cowboy rose. She stole nothing. The colonel's eyes slid toward him. You must be the stray hero. Just a man, the cowboy said. No, the colonel replied. You're her shield. The cowboy stepped closer. Then shoot me, not them. The colonel almost smiled. I shoot only what's useful. The badge man folded his arms. Told you he'd come, cowboy. The sheriff barked. Badge man, shut your mouth. Why? He sneered. My work is done. The colonel raised a hand. His men, lined behind the corral, lowered rifles in perfect unison. The cowboy pulled the woman behind the trough again. Stay down. No, she whispered. I face him. You can't face rifles, he said. She looked at him, eyes burning. I can face him. A hard gust of wind kicked up dust around them, swirling like a storm rising too early. The colonel's voice cut through it. You broke my camp, you broke my rules. I broke your cruelty, she said. You cost me 50 men, he replied. And pride. She shook her head. They left when I left. No, the colonel said. How you led them away? He lifted the rifle again. The cowboy tensed. Don't! The colonel ignored him completely. Giant woman, he said steadily. Kneel. She didn't move. Kneel, he repeated. The cowboy whispered urgently. Don't, she whispered back. If I don't, he kills all. The colonel's eyes narrowed. Well, she stepped out from behind the trough. No, the cowboy hissed. Don't give him ground. I give ground, she said softly, to save you. Don't, he repeated. Please. She turned. You saved me already, with truth. The colonel's boots scuffed once in the dust. Kneel, or I fire again. The woman drew a deep breath, then slowly lowered herself to one knee. Dust lifted around her like smoke. The colonel lowered the rifle slightly. Good. That's where strong backs belong. The cowboy stepped forward, furious. You think strength is slavery? The colonel looked at him. Strength is control. Not hers, the cowboy said. Especially hers, the colonel replied. The sheriff, pale and sweating, leaned against the wagon. Colonel, stand down. This ain't legal. Law, the colonel scoffed. I write law in this territory. No, the woman said. You write fear. And you erase it, he said. I can't allow that. The cowboy reached for her shoulder. We stand together. No, she said. You run. I don't run. You must. He shook his head. I won't. The colonel grew impatient. Enough. He motioned to 2 of his soldiers. Seize her. The cowboy moved instantly, stepping in front of her. The colonel raised a hand. His soldiers stopped. You protect her, he asked. Yes, the cowboy said. Why? The colonel asked. The cowboy didn't hesitate. Because no one protected her. Something flickered, something thin, brittle in the colonel's expression. It vanished quickly. He lowered his rifle. Very well, cowboy. The cowboy exhaled once, relief almost surfacing, until the colonel pointed to him instead. Take him, the colonel said. The woman gasped. No! The soldiers advanced. 2 grabbed the cowboy before he could reach for his gun. He struggled. Let me go. The colonel stepped close enough to smell dust and blood between them. You want to challenge me? He asked. Then suffer for her. She did nothing wrong, the cowboy growled. She embarrassed me, the colonel said. She shattered my camp, and now she kneels free while you stand chained. The soldiers twisted the cowboy's arms back, forcing him down. The woman screamed, Stop! The colonel didn't look at her. He pays her price now. The cowboy's knees hit the dirt. The colonel drew his knife, slow, deliberate, silver flashing in the sun. The woman lunged forward, but rifles cocked instantly, halting her. "Touch him," one soldier warned, "and he dies." She froze, chest heaving. The colonel leaned close to the cowboy's ear. "Tell her she's worthless." The cowboy spat blood. "She's worth everything." The colonel drew back. "You defy me again," he said. "Good." He lifted the knife high. The woman's voice broke. "Don't hurt him, hurt me." The colonel hesitated, then smiled. "Oh, I will," he said softly. "After him." He brought the knife down. The colonel jerked back as the knife spun into the dust, landing with a metallic clatter. His soldiers froze, not out of fear, but confusion. The shot hadn't come from them, or from the colonel's flank. It came from above. Dust rained down from the ridge as a silhouette stepped into view, a lone rifleman framed by the lowering sun. The cowboy blinked through sweat. "Who's that?" The woman's eyes widened. "I don't know." The colonel snarled, "Show yourself." The figure didn't move. Only the rifle barrel lowered, steady, deliberate, unafraid. The sheriff coughed, struggling to sit upright. "That's no deputy of mine." The badge man backed against the wagon wheel, eyes darting. "Not one of ours either." The colonel spat into the dirt. "Mercenary, probably hired by her tribe." The woman frowned. "My tribe has no guns." "Then who?" the cowboy asked. Before she could answer, the rifleman spoke, voice low, gravelly, distant. "Let the man go." The soldiers looked to the colonel. He gritted his teeth. "Not happening." The rifleman cocked the hammer, slow, audible. "Drop him." The colonel's smile returned. "You're one rifle." "I'm 20. Your count's wrong," the rifleman said. Another shadow moved on the ridge, then another and another. 5, 7, 10, all armed, all aiming. The cowboy whispered, "Who are they?" The woman shook her head. "Not Apache, not cavalry." The sheriff squinted. "They move like scouts." The colonel's jaw tightened. "I didn't hire them." The badge man swallowed. "Then who did?" The rifleman called out, "Release the cowboys or we cut your numbers fast." The colonel laughed once. "You won't fire." The rifleman answered with another shot, this time hitting the colonel's boot heel, kicking dust straight up his leg. The colonel stumbled back. "Next one's your knee," the rifleman warned. The colonel froze. The soldiers wavered. One whispered, "Sir, we're exposed." Another murmured, "We can't shoot uphill." Another, "We'll get slaughtered." The colonel barked, "Hold ranks." But their rifles sagged. The cowboy used the moment. "Let me go. You've lost this field." "You think so?" the colonel muttered. He signaled 2 men behind him, barely a twitch of his fingers. But the woman saw it. "Behind you!" she shouted. The cowboy twisted, just in time to avoid a rifle butt aimed for his skull. The blow grazed his cheek instead, knocking him sideways. The soldiers lunged again. The woman surged forward like an avalanche. One soldier swung. She caught his arm mid-air, twisting until the bone popped. He screamed, collapsing into the dust. Another jabbed at her ribs. She seized his collar and slammed him into the trough, sending water exploding outward in a wave. The cowboy fought to his feet. "I'm here!" She grabbed his wrist, pulling him behind her. "Stay close." The colonel retreated a step, then 2, fury igniting his eyes. "You think you win because of shadows?" he shouted. A scout on the ridge fired again, this time hitting a soldier's gun, knocking it clean from his hands. The soldiers panicked. "Sir, we can't hold. We're outmatched." "They're too high," the colonel roared. "Stand your ground." But the soldiers broke formation, scattering behind wagons and posts. The cowboy tightened his grip on the woman's arm. "Now's our chance." "No," she said. "He won't stop." The colonel regained his footing, breath ragged. "You kneel for me, but stand for him." "I kneel for no one," she said. "You did," he snapped. "No," she replied. "I knelt to prevent death." The colonel's lips curled. "Then I should have shot him first." The cowboy stepped forward. "Try." The colonel reached for his second knife, a smaller blade strapped to his boot. But before he could grab it, one of the ridge scouts slid down the rocky slope, fast and silent, moving like a shadow trained for war. He reached the yard and stopped 10 feet from the colonel. The colonel stared. "Who are you?" The scout lifted his head. A scar ran across his face. His eyes were cold, unblinking. "I follow orders," he said. "Whose orders?" the colonel demanded. The scout pointed at the woman. "Hers." Everyone froze. The cowboy turned to her. "Yours." She looked shaken. No, scouts." "You do now," the scarred man said. The sheriff grunted. "Ma'am, they're protecting you." "I didn't ask," she whispered. "Doesn't matter," the scout said. "We owe you." The colonel laughed sharply. "Owe her? For what?" The scout's eyes hardened. "For freeing us." The woman's breath caught. "You were there." "We were all there," the scout said softly. "Your revolt let us escape." The cowboy stared at her. "You freed soldiers?" "No," the scout said. "We were prisoners." The colonel growled. "They were deserters." "We were slaves," the scout said. Another scout descended the ridge behind him. "She broke the gates." A third spoke. "She carried 2 wounded men." A fourth. "She faced the colonel alone." The woman's eyes filled. "I don't remember all." "You don't need to," the scout said. "We remember." The cowboy touched her arm, stunned. "You saved them." The woman shook her head slowly. "I only opened a door." "That door freed us," the scout replied. The colonel's face twisted. "Traitors, all of you." "No," the first scout said. "Witnesses." The colonel raised his gun. The scouts raised theirs. The yard held its breath. The colonel hissed, "I end this now." He pulled the trigger. The colonel stared at his empty gun, disbelief cracking through his composure. He pulled the trigger again. Another empty click cut through the dusty air like a cruel joke. "No," he muttered. "Impossible." The cowboy stepped forward cautiously. "Someone fooled you." "Not someone," the sheriff rasped, clutching his wound. "Someone near." The colonel spun on his own men. "Who touched my weapon?" Silence. Hard. Heavy. Then the badge man shifted his feet, just slightly. The colonel saw it. "You." The badge man lifted both hands. "I did nothing." "You're lying," the colonel growled. "I don't lie," the badge man answered calmly. "I just obey orders." "Whose orders?" the cowboy demanded. The badge man smiled faintly. "Not yours." The woman studied him. "You aided him. You aided me." The badge man shrugged. "I aided myself." The colonel lunged, grabbing the badge man's collar. "You emptied my gun." "No," the badge man said. "I protected my investment." The cowboy frowned. "Investment?" "Oh, yes," the badge man murmured. "You're valuable, giant." The woman stiffened. "I am human." "Your strength," he said, "and strength sells." The cowboy barked. "You're a trafficker." The badge man didn't deny it. "I prefer the term broker." The scouts behind the trough shifted their rifles, aiming at him. He didn't flinch. "Shoot me," he said lightly, "but you'll lose her location forever." The cowboy stepped closer. "What location?" The badge man tilted his head. "Where she came from." "She came from the colonel's camp," the cowboy said. "No," the badge man replied. "She came from somewhere older." The woman's breath shook. "Stop." "You want truth," the badge man said softly. "Here it is." The colonel shoved him backward. "Don't speak for her." "I speak for profit," the badge man said. "Always." The sheriff forced a breath. "Colonel, step away." The colonel ignored him. "Tell me why you betrayed me." The badge man brushed dust from his shirt. "Because you lost control." "I didn't lose," the colonel snarled. "Your gun is empty," the badge man said. "Your men are shaking." "And scouts surround you." The colonel's jaw twitched. The badge man leaned in. "You lost, sir." Rage exploded behind the colonel's eyes. He grabbed the badge man by the throat. "Then you die first." The woman surged forward. "Stop!" Scouts raised rifles. Soldiers raised rifles. The cowboy jumped between them. "Hold!" Dust thickened in the air, swirling around their feet like rising smoke. The badge man gasped for air. "Kill me when she disappears forever." The colonel froze. "What?" the badge man rasped. "Only I know the buyer." The woman stiffened. "Buyer?" The cowboy turned sharply. "What buyer?" The badgeman smiled through the colonel's grip. "The one who claims her blood." The woman stepped back, shaking. "My blood?" "Your lineage," he said. The colonel's hand trembled on the badgeman's throat. "Who?" The badgeman whispered one word. "Blackrock." The woman staggered, knees nearly giving. "No." The cowboy caught her. "Who is that?" She couldn't answer. The sheriff tried. "Old name. Dangerous name." The scouts exchanged fearful glances. Even the colonel hesitated. "Blackrock's dead." "No," the badgeman said. "He lives. And he wants her," the cowboy whispered. The badgeman nodded. "She carries what he lost." The colonel shoved him into the dirt. "You played me." "I played everyone," the badgeman said. The sheriff pointed at him weakly. "Arrest him." "For what?" the badgeman asked. "Truth." The cowboy crouched beside the woman. "Tell me, who is Blackrock?" she whispered. "A chief, a king, a slave, all at once." "Your father?" the cowboy asked. "No," she said. "Worse." The colonel barked, "Enough riddles." He snatched the badgeman's collar again. "Where is Blackrock?" The badgeman leaned close, a voice soft as dust. "Behind you." The colonel froze. The yard fell dead silent. Not a single boot shifted. Not a breath moved. Then, a cold shadow stretched across the colonel's back. A tall, dark figure stepped from behind the wagon. No one had seen him approach. No one heard footsteps. He simply appeared, like a storm taking shape where none existed a moment before. The woman's breath shattered. "No!" The cowboy rose slowly. "Who is that?" The scouts lowered their rifles instinctively. The sheriff whispered, "God help us." The colonel tried to turn, fear twisting his face. The tall figure spoke, voice deep as canyon stone. "Return what's mine." Everyone froze. The woman whispered, barely audible, "Blackrock." The figure stepped closer, eyes burning like coals. "I've come," he said, "for my daughter." Every man dropped to one knee. Soldier, scout, even the wounded driver, like the earth itself, demanded it. The dust shuddered under the sudden weight of obedience. Only 4 people remained standing. The cowboy, the woman, the colonel, and Blackrock. The colonel trembled. "I didn't kneel." Blackrock's shadow fell across him. "You don't belong to me." The colonel swallowed. "Then why these men?" "They know my blood," Blackrock said. The cowboy stepped in front of the woman. "Stay behind me." "No," she whispered. "He wants me." Blackrock's eyes, dark, ancient, impossible, fixated on her. "You ran from me." The woman shook. "I ran from death." "You ran," Blackrock said, "from destiny." The cowboy clenched his jaw. "She chooses her life." "You speak for her?" Blackrock asked. "Yes," the cowboy said. "No," the woman said. "I must speak." She stepped forward, barely, but the air felt like it pushed back on her. Blackrock's voice dropped lower. "Kneel." She stiffened. "I won't." The colonel gasped. "She defies you too." "Yes," Blackrock said. "Like her mother." The woman's breath caught. "Don't speak of her." "Why?" he asked. "Truth scares you." "You killed her," she said. Blackrock didn't blink. "She killed herself." "No," she cried. The cowboy reached for her shoulder, steadying her. "Easy," Blackrock tilted his head. "You comfort her." "I do," the cowboy said. "Then share her burden," Blackrock replied. The sheriff, still kneeling, gasped. "Sir, please. This is county property." Blackrock raised a hand. The sheriff's voice died in his throat. He wasn't choking. He wasn't struck. He simply could not speak. The cowboy swallowed. "What did you do?" "Silenced him," Blackrock said. "His words mattered too much." The woman trembled. "Let him talk." "No, you fear truth," she whispered. "I fear nothing," Blackrock replied. The colonel, sweating, found his voice again. "Blackrock, sir. She caused uprisings. She freed slaves. She—" Blackrock's eyes snapped to him. The colonel froze. "You claim my daughter caused rebellion?" Blackrock asked. "Yes," the colonel whispered. "Good," Blackrock said. The colonel blinked. "Good." "Yes," Blackrock said. She carries my fire. The cowboy stepped forward. Then why chain her? Because fire must be shaped, Blackrock said. No, the woman said. Fire must breathe. The ground seemed to tremble. Blackrock took one step closer. You have strength, he said. My strength. Not yours, she replied. You bear my blood, he said. I bear my mother's freedom, she said. Blackrock's face tightened, just slightly, almost imperceptibly. You embarrass me, he said. Good, she answered. You deserve it. The cowboy whispered, Careful. I'm done with careful, she replied. Blackrock raised his hand again. The kneeling men bowed lower, as if crushed by invisible weight. The woman felt her knees weaken. No, she whispered. No more kneeling. You will, Blackrock said. The cowboy wrapped his arm around her waist, holding her upright. She won't. Blackrock studied him. You protect what isn't yours. She's not an object, the cowboy said. Not property, not a prize. She is mine, Blackrock said. No, the woman said. I'm not. Blackrock inhaled deeply, the sound like wind through canyon stone. You ran, he said. You hid. You broke my camp. You freed my captives. You're prisoners, she corrected. The strong rule, Blackrock said. No, she whispered. The strong rise, alone if needed. Blackrock's hand clenched. Dust spiraled upward in a tight whirlwind. You shame me, he said. Then walk away, she said. I cannot, Blackrock replied. Not without you. The cowboy stepped between them fully. You're not taking her. Blackrock's eyes glowed. You think you can stop me? Yes, the cowboy said. You, Blackrock whispered, a lone man. She's not alone, the cowboy said. Neither am I. He looked toward the ridge, toward the scouts. Still kneeling but watching with fierce devotion, Blackrock followed his gaze. They kneel. They obey me. No, the cowboy said. They kneel from fear, not loyalty. The scouts flinched. Truth exposed. Blackrock's rage simmered. Fear is loyalty. No, the woman said. Fear breaks. She lifted her chin, trembling but unbowed. I choose my life, she said. Not yours, not his. Mine. Blackrock stared at her, then turned slowly to the cowboy. You took her courage, he said. She found it, the cowboy answered. You gave her defiance, Blackrock said. She had it, the cowboy replied. You gave her hope, Blackrock said. The cowboy said nothing. Blackrock's voice darkened. I will take it back. He raised both hands. The ground shook. A wind roared across the yard. The men kneeling cried out as pressure forced their faces toward the dirt. The colonel collapsed flat and screaming. The sheriff clung to the wagon wheel. The woman gasped as her legs buckled, and the cowboy held her up with everything he had. Stay with me, he shouted. I'm trying, she whispered. Blackrock stepped closer, power radiating like heat. You will return to me, he said. No, she choked. Yes, he said. You have no choice. Then, a single voice cut through the hurricane wind. A scout's voice. No more, the scout whispered. Blackrock turned. The first scout, the scarred one, was no longer kneeling. He was rising. Sir, your command ends, the scout said. Blackrock's eyes widened. The cowboy whispered, He broke it. The woman gasped, Impossible. The scout lifted his rifle. For her, he said, and fired. The bullet tore through the air, straight toward Blackrock, but struck something behind him instead. A man fell from the wagon roof, hitting the dirt with a guttural cry. His coat split open, revealing a set of iron keys and a sheriff's deputy badge. The sheriff gasped. Jensen! The wounded deputy writhed, clutching his side. I didn't want this. Blackrock didn't even turn. Stand up! The deputy tried, failed, collapsed again. The cowboy barked. He was hiding there. Why? The woman stared, listening, watching. Blackrock nodded once. My spy. The sheriff coughed. My own man, working for you. Blackrock finally turned his head, slow as a tightening rope. Your badge holds nothing against blood. Blood? The cowboy said. He's not Apache. No, Blackrock said, but he fears me more than you. The deputy lifted a trembling hand. Colonel promised silver, but Blackrock, promised life. The colonel spat. Coward! You bought him too, the scout said coldly. The colonel hesitated. Maybe. The woman stepped forward, voice shaking. Why spy on me? The deputy wheezed. Blackrock wanted your path, your friends, your weakness. Blackrock spoke over him. I wanted leverage. The cowboy clenched his fists. You wanted ownership. Blackrock met his stare. Same thing. No, the cowboy said. Not here. Blackrock raised a brow. Here, in this dirt. What is this place to you? The cowboy didn't blink. Where she stands free. Blackrock laughed, a low earthquake sound. Nothing stands free, the woman whispered. I do. You kneel, Blackrock answered. No, she said. I refuse. Blackrock's eyes narrowed. Refusal breeds death. Then kill me, she said. The cowboy grabbed her wrist. Don't say that. But she kept her gaze locked on Blackrock. You want me, she said. I see that, but not for love, not for tribe, not for blood. You want me as symbol. Blackrock's jaw clenched. You want my strength, she said, because you lost yours. A flicker, real pain, crossed Blackrock's face. The cowboy whispered, That true. Blackrock's voice dropped low. Your mother carried the fire, not me. The woman frowned. Mother? Blackrock looked away. She was meant to serve me. No, the woman said. She died running from you. No, Blackrock snapped. She died resisting fate. The cowboy stepped forward. She died resisting you. Blackrock's hand twitched, like he wanted to crush the air around them. The scouts raised rifles. The soldiers trembled. The sheriff whispered, This is spiraling. The colonel, shaking, found his voice again. Blackrock, let's make a trade. Everyone turned. A trade? The cowboy repeated. The colonel nodded, swallowing fear. You want her. I want revenge for my camp. Let me take the cowboy, you take her. The woman gasped. No, the cowboy growled. Try. Blackrock stared at the colonel with disgust. You bargain with the living as toys. You started it, the colonel said. Blackrock stepped toward him. I end it. The colonel raised his empty pistol. Stop, You have nothing, Blackrock said. And with a flick of his wrist, the colonel collapsed backward, as if struck by invisible weight. The colonel's soldiers panicked. Sir! Colonel! Get up. Blackrock didn't look at them. You follow a hollow man. The woman whispered. Your power. You control them. No, Blackrock said. Their fear controls them. The cowboy stepped between them again. She's not afraid. She will be, Blackrock said. She won't, the cowboy said. Blackrock tilted his head. Then you fear for her? Yes, the cowboy replied. That stopped Blackrock. For a moment. Then, Blackrock's voice softened strangely. Fear means love. The woman froze. The cowboy didn't move. Blackrock studied them. You two changed each other. The cowboy said nothing. The woman whispered, We survived together. Blackrock lowered his head, then raised it with renewed purpose. That ends now. He extended his hand toward the woman. Dust lifted around her feet. She gasped. No! The cowboy seized her arm. Hold on! The scouts struggled against an unseen force pinning them down. The sheriff tried to crawl toward them. Fight him! The woman cried out, legs buckling as dust spiraled around her like a rising storm funnel. Blackrock stepped forward, calm, absolute. Return, daughter. Stop! The cowboy roared. She clung to him. Don't let go. Never, he said. Blackrock lifted his hand higher. The ground trembled harder. The spinning dust sharpened, rising like a dying whirlwind. Then, suddenly, the earth split beneath the woman's feet. A narrow fracture tore through the dirt, glowing faintly beneath the surface. The cowboy tightened his grip, straining. Hold, hold! She slipped an inch, then another. Her fingers clawed into his sleeve. Don't let him take me, she screamed. I won't, the cowboy shouted. Blackrock's voice thundered. She belongs to me! The crack widened. The woman's boot slid into the gap. Her balance broke, and she was pulled downward. The cowboy hung in the air, boots kicking over the widening crack, as Blackrock's grip crushed into his collar. The earth roared beneath them, glowing, trembling, swallowing the giant woman piece by piece. Let me go, the cowboy shouted. "No," Blackrock said. "You fall and she's lost." "She is lost," the cowboy yelled. "How you pushed her?" Blackrock shook his head slowly. "The earth chose," the cowboy snarled. "You forced it." Blackrock's grip tightened. "I guided destiny." Below them, the woman's voice echoed faintly, terrified, slipping deeper. "Help me," the cowboy thrashed violently. "I'm coming." Blackrock yanked him upward and threw him aside like a rag doll. The cowboy rolled through the dirt, coughing, scrambling back toward the crack. He reached the edge again. "Hold on," he screamed into the glowing chasm. "I'm trying," her voice cried back. The scouts rose shakily, freed from Blackrock's earlier pressure. The sheriff dragged himself upright, blood soaking his coat. The soldiers stumbled away, terrified beyond reason. The colonel lay stunned, half-conscious, watching with hollow eyes. The badge man whispered, "She's gone." The cowboy pivoted. "She's not gone." He dropped to his stomach, reaching blind into the glowing fissure. Heat licked up his arms, but he didn't stop. "Give me your hand," he yelled. Her fingers brushed his, but Blackrock slammed his boot onto the cowboy's wrist. He screamed in pain. "Move your foot," he roared. "No," Blackrock said. The cowboy glared up. "You want her dead?" Blackrock's face twisted. "I want her returned, alive." "Then help!" the cowboy yelled. Blackrock stared into the chasm, silent, calculating. The woman's voice, and weaker now, rose again. "Please." Blackrock's jaw ticked. He stepped back. Not in mercy. In preparation, he stretched both arms outward, commanding the very earth with an ancient authority that made every man present hold his breath. The glowing crack shuddered, then widened. "No!" the cowboy screamed. "You'll kill her." Blackrock didn't stop. She must fall far enough to rise again. "That makes no—" the cowboy began, but the ground buckled violently, throwing him backward. The sheriff grabbed a post. "He's splitting the whole yard!" The scouts braced themselves. One shouted, "He'll bury her alive!" The cowboy lunged at Blackrock. "Stop!" Blackrock caught him mid-charge, palm to his chest, freezing him like stone. "You cling to her," Blackrock said. "Yes," the cowboy rasped. "So you love her," Blackrock said. "Yes," the cowboy growled. "That is the problem," Blackrock replied. The cowboy's rage snapped. "She chooses her life." "And I choose her fate," Blackrock said. "No," the cowboy spat. "You don't choose anything for her." For the first time, Blackrock's certainty wavered, just a flicker. The cowboy shoved him with everything he had. Blackrock staggered back, shocked, just long enough for the cowboy to leap toward the crack again. "Take my hand," he screamed. Her voice echoed faintly. "I can't reach." "Yes, you can," he yelled. "Reach," Blackrock roared. "Enough!" He raised his hand, but a rifle cracked. Blackrock jerked sideways, staggered, shocked. The scarred scout lowered his smoking rifle. "Step back, monster." Blackrock touched the wound, just a graze, but his eyes darkened. "You challenge me," he whispered. "We follow her now," the scout said. Blackrock's fury ignited. "Traitors!" The cowboy didn't look back. He leaned deep into the crack, stretching his arm farther. "I'm here," he shouted. "Cowboy, don't fall." Her voice trembled. "Don't worry," he whispered, voice breaking. "I'll pull you back." Her fingertips brushed his again, closer this time, hot with fear. "I can't hold," she cried. "Yes," he said softly, "you can." Blackrock raised both arms. The earth screamed. The fissure began closing. The cowboy shouted, "No!" "Stop!" Blackrock's voice thundered. "If I cannot reclaim her, the earth will." The scouts fired, bullets striking the dirt around Blackrock, forcing him to step aside but not falter. The sheriff yelled, "Hold your ground!" The colonel crawled backward, muttering, "He's insane!" Dust spiraled upward in a burning cyclone. The crack narrowed, fast. The cowboy pushed his arm deeper until his shoulder caught the edge. "Grab me!" he shouted. "I'm slipping!" she cried. The light inside the fissure flickered, fading. The cowboy screamed, "Take my hand now!" Her fingers latched onto his, but the crack closed violently around them. She screamed. He screamed with her. Blackrock staggered. "No!" The scouts fired again. The cowboy pulled with everything he had, tendons burning, body shaking. "Come on!" he roared. Her hand slipped, then tightened again. "I have you," he shouted. "I have you." The fissure slammed shut around their wrists. The woman cried out, silenced by the crushing earth. The cowboy howled, "No!" Dust exploded outward. Silence swallowed the yard. Then, a faint whisper rose from beneath the sealed ground. "Don't! Let go!" The cowboy froze. "She's alive," he whispered. Blackrock stared at the ground, horrified. "That's impossible." The cowboy looked up at him, eyes burning with fury. "No," he whispered. "It's destiny." The ground glowed brighter, hot gold bleeding through the cracks, until the dust around the cowboy shimmered like heated air. He staggered back as the sealed earth bulged upward beneath his hands. "She's coming out," he whispered. "No," Blackrock growled. "That cannot be." The sheriff braced himself against the wagon. "Everyone back!" The scouts retreated uphill, rifles trembling. The colonel crawled away, hands shaking violently. Even the badgeman, controlled, calm, calculating, took one wary step back. But the cowboy stayed where he was, kneeling in the heat, refusing to leave. "Come on," he whispered. "Come back to me." The earth cracked. A hand broke through, her hand, dust-covered, shaking, reaching blindly for air. The cowboy seized it instantly. "I've got you." Her voice rose from below, hoarse, strained. "Pull!" He pulled with every muscle he had, boots digging trenches in the dirt. The fissure widened with a violent jolt, as if something under the ground wanted her free just as much as he did. Blackrock stepped forward, horrified. "No," he said, voice trembling with the first hint of fear. "The earth obeys me, not her." The cowboy shot him a glare. "Not anymore." The woman's other hand broke through, clawing for hold. The cowboy hooked his arm around her wrist. "Climb!" he yelled. "I'm trying." The earth heaved again, violent, unpredictable, throwing scouts off balance and slamming the wagon door shut, snapping fence posts like twigs. Dust swirled so thick that every figure became a silhouette. Blackrock roared above the chaos. "She belongs to my blood." The cowboy roared louder. "No, she belongs to herself." That line cut through the valley like a bullet. The earth answered. With a thunderous crack, the fissure exploded open, and the giant woman surged upward, rising from the ground in one sweeping motion, raw, powerful, furious, eyes burning like fire reflected in water. She landed on her knees, gasping, skin glowing faintly from the dust light still clinging to her. The cowboy grabbed her shoulders. "You're back. You're here." She nodded weakly. "You didn't let go." "Never," he said. Blackrock stepped forward, stunned. "How did you rise?" Her voice deepened, steadier than before. "Because I chose to." "You can't," he whispered. "I did," she said. Blackrock's breath shook, rage or fear, no one could tell. "You broke my command." "I broke your hold," she corrected. "You cannot break blood." "Blood is not chains," she said. The cowboy stood beside her. "And she isn't yours." Blackrock's fury erupted. "You challenge me!" The cowboy didn't flinch. "Yes." Blackrock extended both arms. Dust spiraled. The sky dimmed. The air pressed down like a falling mountain. The scouts collapsed to their knees again. The sheriff lost his footing. The colonel curled in on himself. The badgeman shielded his face. Only the cowboy and the woman remained standing. Barely, but standing. Blackrock's voice thundered. "You defy a king of the earth!" Her voice answered, not loud, but stronger. "I defy a man who fears a woman's will." Blackrock staggered as if struck. "You cannot speak that to me." She stepped closer, inch by inch, towering, unyielding, unstoppable. "You beat my people," she said. "You bought bodies. You killed freedom. But you never broke me." Blackrock retreated one step. The cowboy followed her lead. "She rises." "Feofall." "You don't understand," Blackrock snarled. "I'm your king." "No," she whispered. "You're my wound." Those words shattered something inside him. He lunged. The cowboy intercepted, but Blackrock's strength threw him aside like wind tossing straw. The cowboy hit the dirt rolling, coughing, ribs screaming. "Cowboy," she cried. "I'm fine," he lied. Blackrock charged again, straight at her. She met him head-on. Their collision cracked the air like lightning, dust exploding outward in a halo. Blackrock slammed his palm into her shoulder, but she didn't fall. She shoved him back. Hard. Blackrock stumbled, shocked. "No," he whispered. "Impossible." "You lost your strength," she said softly, "when you lost your honor." Blackrock roared, grabbing a broken wagon beam, swinging it like a club. The cowboy jumped between them instinctively. "Move!" she cried. "No!" The beam swung. The woman thrust her arm. Blackrock's strike hit her forearm. The beam shattered. Blackrock reeled backward, stunned by her strength. The cowboy grabbed the colonel's dropped chain. "Enough!" He hurled the chain around Blackrock's legs. It wrapped. Tight. Locked. Blackrock fell to one knee. The scouts seized the moment, raising rifles. The sheriff wheezed, "Stand! Down!" But no one listened. The cowboy approached Blackrock slowly. "This ends now." Blackrock glared up, breathing hard, shaking with fury. "You think chains hold me?" The cowboy leaned closer. "No, she holds you." Blackrock turned toward the woman. She stepped forward, calm, powerful, unafraid. "Look at me," she said. Blackrock did. Eyes burning, breath shaking. She lowered herself until she was eye level with him. "You chased me," she said. "You beat me. You hunted me. You called me yours." She reached toward him. Blackrock flinched. "You will hear this," she said. Silence flooded the yard. "You are not my father." Blackrock's face collapsed, like a man who'd been stabbed somewhere deeper than flesh. "No," he whispered. "No. Your mother. My mother ran from you," she said. "Not toward you." Blackrock trembled. His breath broke. His shoulders sagged. "You don't know," he whispered. "Then tell me," she said. "Tell me truth, not power." Blackrock opened his mouth, but a single gunshot rang out. Blackrock jerked violently. A red bloom spread across his chest. Everyone turned. Standing behind the wagon, holding a smoking pistol, was the colonel. His voice cracked with triumph. "No more kings." The ground trembled beneath Blackrock's fallen body, low, rumbling, angry, like the earth itself refused to release him. Dust spiraled around his chest where the bullet had struck, glowing faintly as though heat still pulsed beneath his ribs. The cowboy grabbed the woman's arm. "Stay back." "I'm not afraid," she whispered. "I am," he answered. The colonel staggered forward, still holding the smoking pistol. "I ended him, finally ended him." But the sheriff shook his head, pressing a bloody hand to his ribs. "You didn't end anything." The scouts formed a semicircle, rifles raised. The badgeman slowly edged toward the stables, unsure which side death favored. The driver lay trembling behind the wagon, whispering prayers. The rumbling deepened, then stopped. Blackrock opened his eyes, not glowing, not furious, just tired. The woman stepped forward before anyone could stop her. "Don't," the cowboy warned. "He's dying," she said. Blackrock exhaled a ragged breath. "Daughter." She knelt beside him, not touching, only watching. "I am not your child," she said softly, "but I will listen." Blackrock's voice broke. "Your mother was the one who carried greatness." The woman froze. "She died resisting you." "No," Blackrock whispered, closing his eyes. "She died saving you. From me." The cowboy knelt beside her. "What's he saying?" Blackrock turned his face toward the woman. "She struck me, so you could run." The woman's eyes filled. "You told me she was weak." "No," he rasped. "She was stronger than I ever was." A long silence swept the yard, heavy, wounded, real. The woman whispered, "Why chase me?" Blackrock coughed blood. Dust rose with each breath. "I thought reclaiming you would reclaim her." The cowboy lowered his head. The woman's voice trembled. "You hurt me." "I hurt everyone," Blackrock said, "because I feared being forgotten." The colonel scoffed. "Good riddance." The sheriff glared at him. "Colonel, so we stay quiet." The woman looked down at Blackrock. No pity, no forgiveness, only clarity. "You are not forgotten," she said, "but you are not my destiny." Blackrock swallowed. Then let me die, seeing you free. She nodded once. I am free. Blackrock's breath slowed. Then I can go. The ground softened beneath him, dust falling inward, cradling his body, not swallowing, not glowing, just receiving, as though the earth finally accepted his end. The cowboy whispered, "He's gone." "No," the woman said gently. "He's finally at rest." The wind passed softly through the yard, lifting dust like ash. The scouts lowered their rifles. The sheriff leaned against the wagon, exhausted. Even the badge man froze, humbled by the moment. The woman rose slowly. The cowboy offered his hand. She took it. Together they faced the valley, the ruined corral, the scattered men, the broken pieces of fear that once controlled her life. The sheriff spoke first. "What now?" The woman looked at the cowboy, then at the horizon. "Now," she said, "I rebuild." "With what?" The colonel spat. "Everything's broken." "Then we start with broken things," the cowboy said. The woman squeezed his hand. "And with truth." The scouts approached, heads bowed. The scarred one spoke for them all. "We follow you," he said, "if you'll have us." She shook her head. "No, walk with me, not behind me." They nodded, grateful, loyal in a healthy, human way this time. The sheriff cleared his throat. "I'll file charges on the colonel and him." He pointed at the badge man. The badge man sighed. "I expected worse." "You'll get worse," the sheriff muttered. The cowboy looked at the woman. "You really okay?" She looked at the ground where she'd risen from, at the sky above, at the valley spread wide and waiting. "Yes," she said, "because I choose my path." "And if that path crosses mine?" the cowboy asked gently. She smiled, a quiet, strong smile, built from survival rather than hope alone. "Then walk beside me," she said. "Not in front, not behind." He nodded. "That's the only way I walk." Together they stepped forward, leaving the shattered yard behind, not running, not hiding, just moving into a future no one chose for them except themselves. If this story pulled you into the dust, danger, and heart of the Old West, then you don't want to miss what happens next. Legends like these rise from the grit of broken men, fearless women, and the storms they survive. So before you ride off, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe to follow every tale we bring roaring back to life. Share this with someone who loves Western drama, impossible courage, and stories where strength is earned, not given. Saddle up with us, partner. More battles, more mysteries, and more unforgettable heroes are waiting just beyond the next ridge.